Most comic book fans know the basics about Hellboy, Mike Mignola's greatest creation. He's a demon who came to Earth as a baby, and who carries on his back a bizarre prophecy that he will bring about the end of the world. But did you know that Hellboy's story has already come to an end in the comics? So, what happened to Big Red? Did he really bring about the end of the world? Did he lead the armies of hell? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video, in a nutshell. To explain the ending of Hellboy, it is important to first contextualize the origin of two extremely important elements in the character's mythology: the right hand of doom and the Ogdru Jahad. In the beginning of time, God created spirits to assist him, and many of these greater spirits, called Watchers, were tasked with watching over the earth, including Anun. Anun was a powerful spirit, but he wanted more, so he used his right hand to steal some of God's own power, Vril, secret fire, and used it to create the dragon Ogdru Jahad, a monster destined to bring about the end of the world. As soon as it came to life, the Ogdru Jahad gave birth to the 369 Ogdrahen, monstrous and horrible creatures that immediately went to war against the Watchers. After the Ogdrahen were defeated, the Watcher Anun realized his mistake and once again used his right hand, this time to seal the Ogdru Jahad in a crystal prison and cast it into the deep regions of space. The other Watchers were afraid of Anun and turned against him, destroying his body, except for his right hand. As the hand that created and imprisoned Ogdru Jahad, it is also the key that will release and command him, being a kind of catalyst that will cause the end of the world. It was also declared that the power of the right hand of perdition would awaken and give life to an army that would break down the barriers between hell, heaven, and earth. Hellboy ended up finding himself in the middle of this situation because of his father, Azael. As soon as Hellboy was born, Azael took his sword and cut off his son's hand, replacing it with the right hand of perdition. This would place the boy in the middle of a series of prophecies involving the end of the world. When he was still a baby, Hellboy ended up being brought to Earth by the wizard Rasputin during a Nazi ritual, and this ended up connecting the destinies of the two in bizarre ways. It was through Rasputin as an adult that Hellboy learned of his role in the prophecy of the end of the world, and how he was destined to free the Ogdru Jahad. In his first confrontation with Rasputin, the wizard's physical body ends up being killed by Abe Sapien, Hellboy's friend and member of the BPRD, but his soul remains a threat throughout the issues. In the midst of this, there is also the Osiris Club, a group of British knights who follow their own prophecy, that one day they would find the king who refused his crown, and that 7 chosen ones would cut off his right hand to elevate themselves over all that remains. Keep this prophecy in mind because it will be important. When Nimue, the Queen of Blood, returns to England to carry out her plans of conquest, a part of the power of the Ogdru Jahad is reborn using her body. The dragon then releases his offspring, the Ogdrahen, across the planet, in an event that became known as Hell on Earth. This was believed to be the prophetic final battle, but it was only a part of the power of the Ogdru Jahad, so Hellboy manages to kill the dragon, but also ends up falling in battle. Hellboy finally ends up in Hell, where his uncle, Astroth, does everything he can to make him accept the destiny his father prepared for him, that of wearing the flaming crown and using the right hand of perdition to lead all the armies of hell, destroying the barriers between heaven, hell, and earth. However, Hellboy continually refuses to be part of any prophecy, as he just wants to live, or in this case die, in peace. However, he still takes some important actions in hell, such as killing Satan. He also awakens his demon lord powers in full force for the first time to completely destroy the power hierarchy of hell, destroying its castles and eliminating the demon lords. After this, he finally rests, but not for long, as he is brought back to Earth with the help of Edward Grey and the homunculus Roger to help face the hordes of Ogdrahen, destroying the planet under the command of a also returned Rasputin, now more powerful than ever. While the BPRD forces confront the Ogdrahen, it is up to Hellboy, Liz Sherman, and Abyssapian to personally confront Rasputin. However, the wizard is extremely powerful. He easily knocks down Liz, and then grabs Abe, and finally achieves his promised revenge, crushing the body of Hellboy's friend and breaking all of his bones. Abe dies immediately. In order to face Rasputin's powers, Hellboy uses his demonic heritage and activates his full powers, which gives him a considerable increase in mass and causes his horns to grow. Even so, he still faces difficulties in confronting the wizard. Finally, Rasputin presses his advantage and does the unthinkable. He cuts off Hellboy's arm, the right hand of doom, while shouting that he is his true master. However, this only motivates Hellboy, who manages to grab the villain with his left arm and breaks his neck. Immediately, Hellboy also falls dead, while his spirit watches. He is then guided by Edward Grey, who explains to him what happened after that and how the end of the world happened. The Ogdruheim horde continued to devastate the planet, but suddenly something falls from the sky and eliminates them. But not only them, the entire planet is devastated. It is Ogdru-Jahad, who has finally arrived on Earth to fulfill his prophecy. However, the dragon is dead, with all of its heads lifeless. Hellboy asks what happened, and Edward points him to the residence of the Osiris Club. It turns out that when Hellboy died, they took the right hand of perdition to free the Ogdru-Jahad and throw him to Earth. But they did so by absorbing all of his power immediately, which killed the dragon. Problem solved then, right? Well, not exactly. In addition to the dragon's fall having eradicated the planet, the Osiris Club confined the powers of the Ogdru-Jahad in the right hand of perdition, and were now performing a kind of transfusion to become gods in order to fulfill that prophecy of theirs that I mentioned earlier. Hellboy prevents this. He takes his hand back and uses the accumulated power to completely destroy the Osiris Club. The Red One is then guided by Edward and the witch Eckhart to do what needs to be done with what is left of the planet. It is time to bring about the end of the world, but in the right way. Hellboy finds Liz Sherman, the last survivor of humanity, and convinces her to use her fire to purify the planet. Liz bursts into flames that completely consume the earth, after which Hellboy sacrifices himself inside the body of Eckhart's Iron Maiden, and his blood runs across the planet until it reaches the ocean. There, his blood touches hundreds of eggs that came out of Abe Sapien's corpse, and these creatures hatch and gradually come to Earth. It is the new humanity that one day finds Liz Sherman's body crystallized inside a cocoon. The story ends with the doubt as to whether she will leave there or whether she will be worshipped as a deity by the new human beings. In the end, Hellboy seemed to be a story of someone trying to escape their destiny, but it showed that even free will can end up taking you to exactly what you wanted to escape. Hellboy did not accept the crown of hell. He did not lead an army of demons. He did not free Ogdrin Jared from his prison, but he was still responsible for the end of the world. But more importantly than all of that, he did everything on his own terms, offering a new life to humanity.